Have you ever felt like your mind is a broken television, changing channels by itself every second? Thoughts about work, bills, the future, the past, that embarrassing conversation from 3 years ago. Everything mixed up in a mental mess that never seems to stop. If you relate to this, then this story could change your life forever. In a small town in rural Japan, there lived a young man named Hiroshi. At 28 years old, he worked for a tech company in Tokyo, and his mind was complete chaos. Every day, on the crowded train ride back home, Hiroshi felt suffocated not by the number of people around him, but by the thousands of thoughts racing through his head like cars on an endless racetrack. He thought about the next day's meetings while still processing today's emails. He worried about his boss's opinion of his latest project while mentally planning what to eat for dinner. His mind never rested, never stopped, never found silence. It was as if there was a loud party happening inside his head, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Hiroshi's nights were the worst. When he finally managed to lie down, his mind would accelerate even more, like an overheated engine. He would lie there, staring at the ceiling, while his mind replayed every conversation of the day, anticipated every problem of tomorrow, and revisited every mistake from the past. Sleep had become a rare luxury, and mental peace, a completely foreign concept. One day, during a visit to his grandmother's house in the countryside, Hiroshi broke down. Sitting in the small traditional kitchen, he said to the 87-year-old woman, "Obasan, I can't take it anymore. My mind never stops. It's like I've lost control of my own head. I don't know how to find peace anymore." Hiroshi's grandmother, a wise woman who had lived through wars, losses, and transformations, looked at her grandson with gentle eyes and said, "Ah, my dear, you have the disease of the modern mind, but I have something that can help you. Come with me." She led Hiroshi to the small kitchen table and placed before him an empty cup and an ordinary teaspoon, the kind we use every day. Hiroshi looked at the objects with confusion. "What does this have to do with my restless mind?" The grandmother smiled mysteriously and said, "Hiroshi, I want you to take this spoon and balance it on the tip of your index finger. Seems simple, doesn't it?" Hiroshi picked up the spoon and tried to balance it. Within seconds, it fell to the floor with a metallic clatter. "Very good," said the grandmother. "Now try again, but this time, while balancing the spoon, I want you to tell me about all your work problems, your worries about the future, and your frustrations from the past. Talk non-stop." Hiroshi found the task strange, but he deeply respected his grandmother. He picked up the spoon again and began to speak. "Well, there's this project I need to finish by Friday, and my boss doesn't like my ideas, and I think maybe I should have studied something different in college," and clang, the spoon fell again. Hiroshi tried once more, continuing to talk about his worries, but the spoon kept falling. After several frustrated attempts, he stopped and looked at his grandmother with exasperation. "It's impossible, Obasan. I can't balance the spoon while thinking about other things." The wise woman's eyes sparkled with a special light. "Now," she said softly, "try to balance the spoon one more time. But this time, don't talk about anything. Just observe the spoon. Feel its weight, its temperature, its texture. Be completely present with it." Hiroshi sighed and tried again. This time, he focused entirely on the small teaspoon. He observed how it curved slightly at one end. He felt the cold metal against his skin. He noticed how the window light reflected on its surface. He paid attention to the micro-oscillation needed to keep it balanced. To his surprise, the spoon remained balanced. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Hiroshi was completely absorbed in the task, and something extraordinary happened. His mind fell silent. For the first time in years, there was no internal noise. There was no to-do list running in his head. There were no future worries or past regrets. There was only him and the spoon, existing in the present moment. When the spoon finally fell, Hiroshi felt something he had forgotten existed: mental silence. For those precious seconds, he had experienced true peace. "How is this possible?" he murmured, looking at the spoon as if it were a magical object. His grandmother smiled tenderly. "My dear grandson, you have just discovered the secret that takes monks decades to learn. When your attention is completely focused on the present moment, there is no space for the thousand thoughts that normally torment your mind." She picked up the spoon and held it delicately in her wrinkled hands. "This simple teaspoon taught you something that no book or lecture could. The mind can only truly concentrate on one thing at a time. When you force your attention to remain in the now, the past and future lose their power over you. Hiroshi felt tears forming in his eyes. Not tears of sadness, but of deep relief. So peace was always within my reach. Always, replied the grandmother. Peace is not something you need to seek outside yourself. It's what remains when you stop feeding the thoughts that agitate you. It's like the blue sky that was always there, even when covered by storm clouds. That night, Hiroshi slept deeply for the first time in months, and in the following days, whenever he felt his mind starting to race, he remembered the lesson of the spoon. Sometimes he would literally balance a spoon, other times he would just imagine the exercise. The important thing was to return his attention to the present moment. Weeks later, colleagues began to notice the change in Hiroshi. He seemed calmer, more focused, more present in conversations. "What's your secret?" they asked. Hiroshi smiled and thought of the small teaspoon that had transformed his life. The truth is that we all have a teaspoon within our reach. It could be our breathing, the steps we take while walking, the sensation of warm water touching our skin in the shower. Any simple activity can become an anchor to the present moment, a key to mental silence. The lesson of the teaspoon teaches us that we don't need to win against our thoughts in an epic battle. We just need to choose where to place our attention. And when we choose the present moment, the thousand thoughts that torment us simply lose their strength and dissolve like mist in the morning sun. If this story touched your heart in some way, if you recognized in Hiroshi a bit of your own mental struggle, please give this video a like. In the comments, tell me, what would be your teaspoon? What simple object could you use to train your mind to find peace in the present? And if you want more stories like this, stories that don't just entertain but transform, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, because every week I bring a new journey of discovery and personal growth. Remember, the peace you seek is not at the end of a long journey. It's here, in this moment, waiting for you to simply stop searching and start noticing. Until the next story, and may your mind find the silence it deserves.